Thank you for tuning in to the Leadership Forum, a space where you will hear perspectives from global industry executives on human ingenuity and how they catalyzed it to unlock value and realize their organization's true potential. We will keep it real. We will hear what's worked well and learnings from instances where things could have worked better. I'm your host, Saqib Ali, partner at SpyderWorks and explorer. Say hi to the future, the fast-growing community highlighting the human side of ingenuity. Our guest today is Paul Mayo, President and CEO of NTN Bearings Corporation of Canada Limited, a company that manufactures and supplies the most comprehensive range of bearings, constant velocity joints, and other such parts. As the world's third largest bearing manufacturer, NTN has over 68 plants worldwide, 100 years of premium quality to its name. Welcome, Paul, and thank you for taking time out from your frictionless schedule.
Thank you, Saqib. It's my pleasure to be part of this year's show and this opportunity. And one thing I'd like to add as well is that we're celebrating, actually in 2018, we celebrated our 50th anniversary in Canada as an organization. But most importantly, we are celebrating 50 years this year of our manufacturing facility in Mississauga, where we do manufacture bearings, which is, only one of two, I believe, remaining bearing manufacturers in Canada. So I just wanted to basically throw that in there as well.
Congratulations to you and your entire team. That is quite a milestone. So thanks a lot, Paul. But Paul, I introduced you in my words, in what I've read about you and how I've got to know you. Why don't you take a moment to introduce yourself and how you would like to be introduced to our listeners?
Yes, well, again, thank you very much. So, Saqib, my journey started with NTN Bearings in 1984. Next year, I'll be celebrating my 40th year with NTN. I know no other employment organization. I started off at an entry-level position in our warehouse, shipping bearings to our customers. And in 2014, had the privilege of being asked to be the president and CEO of the organization, and had quite the journey through that entire, my entire career at NTN. And I think from that standpoint, kind of gives you an idea of at least when I started and where I am today from a role perspective.
Awesome. And you know what, 40 years young. That's still a lot of runway, Paul. Paul, you and I met the first time around by MBOT at the Mississauga Board of Trade. Mm-hmm. And you have been an avid supporter, just as Say Hi to the Future and SpyderWorks has been. MBOT's done a lot of great work for all of us, supporting businesses all across Mississauga. So just to give some context to that, would love to get your take on where is it that MBOT you feel has been delighting businesses in Canada, or rather in Mississauga, and where do you think there's some bit of work that's still to be done for MBOT?
So the Mississauga Board of Trade is a great organization. Their leadership right now under Trevor is really making some great inroads for the business community, including ourselves, in really advocating the needs of the business community. And on my side, from the manufacturing side specifically, advocating and collecting the needs of really trying to lay a solid foundation of transformation for our businesses, for at least, I would say, the next 10 years. And I think with the rapid change that our economy is going through on a daily basis, with all the challenges that I think we commonly face as many different organizations working in the city of Mississauga, the Mississauga Board of Trade is the right channel to collect the minds and the needs of employers and try to put together a strategy that will allow us to continue to grow with a high level of resilience, which is, the project that I'm involved with, the MERGE, again, the Mississauga, Economic Resilience Group. Yeah, so my point is, it's a great organization. It's under great leadership. They have a very, very hardworking staff, and collectively, with SpyderWorks as well. I think the community of secondary leadership that we have, in other words, people like myself and others that are trying to really prioritize our time to help MBOT really put together a very, very solid, business plan to assist us greatly in what we need to do and help solve some of the problems that we can't solve on our own.
That's so well said, Paul. And I can't but echo your sentiment, which is Trevor's been an amazing leader in how he's come in and wrapped his arms around the businesses and fighting for the businesses within Mississauga. He's also an avid supporter of Say Hi to the Future. He's an avid supporter of Merge, and by the way, the on September 28th, the entire conference day that's happening for Say Hi to the Future is around resilience. So, we'd love to see you there, and I think that'll be fantastic for us to have you there.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to it.
So, Paul, Say Hi to the Future. Hi stands for human ingenuity, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, what this specific conversation with you is around is your leadership take on ingenuity, and more important, the human side of ingenuity as it relates to you, your organization's success. So, what's your take? When has it worked really well? When has it not? And what have you learned from it?
Yeah, that's a great question. And it's probably a question that keeps most leaders up at night. Because most definitely, if I had to take a look at my entire career and see how, we approached human capital when I first started versus how we've really had to transform, especially at the leadership level, to make sure that we continue to be an attractive organization for young people today to join. And let me tell you, that is not an easy task for an organization today, because the talent that's available in the marketplace has choices, probably choices that they didn't have, at least in the capacity of their knowledge, as maybe we did, when I was, if I go back 20, 30 years, when a unique, and again, you may think, well, where does a guy get the time to do this? But I will meet with every new hire in our organization, regardless of position. And I'm usually the last 15 minutes of an interview. And the only reason I meet with these new prospects is to really give them a really good understanding of, because as you can imagine, in a recruiting process, managers and HR try to do one thing, find a suitable candidate, and they do a lot of sell job on the organization, right? What I try to do is ensure they really understand what we do well, but really what we don't do well. And I think that's so important for a young, brilliant mind that you may want to attract to do two things: have complete clarity into a job opportunity that he may be seeking, maybe leaving a current job that maybe he or she has met their growth expectations and wants to move on. When you can communicate both sides, what you do well and what you don't do well, that 15 minutes, believe it or not, also becomes a consulting opportunity for someone to give me some ideas in that short period of time, to try to give me some ideas as to potentially where I might grasp some information to really help me in my journey with improving the organization. So immediately, it starts from, I believe, when you talk about ingenuity, I think what young people today especially, but I think everybody in an organization wants, the opportunity to influence a decision. And they want to be able to do it, for sure in their area of responsibility. But I do believe that, having the opportunity to influence executive leadership really gives them the understanding that, my ideas can contribute to an organization. Somebody's going to give me the opportunity to express what those ideas are in a constructive way. And even though I may be at an entry level position, holy smokes, I may be able to get the CEO to actually see something that he can't see, and use it, and make me a greater part of that, of that overall decision or strategy that we may be taking. I don't know if that answers your question.
It not just answers my question, it gives me such a lot to unpack in there, Paul. So first of all, it's a very refreshing take where it's not just about a sell job, it's about seeking input, which is such a different way of looking at an interview process. So kudos to you for instituting that with the new organization. But to me, there's a second part to it, which is, you said, it's about everyone wishes to influence a decision. And what you've just gone ahead and done in just as one example is, you've said, let me create this space for that influence to take place. And generally, what, ingenuity, creativity, it requires a space for it to flourish. So this is one example of how you've created the space. Are there other examples within your organization where you create this space for people to shine, people to bring out the very best in themselves?
About 4 years ago, we started a program at NTN where we've taken, regardless of what role you're in, whether you're in the in a professional environment, or at in our distribution warehouse, or in manufacturing, anybody that was below the age of 35, and I think right now that group is about 28 to 30 people. We created we term it as a millennial council, but we give this group 1 day a month to get together, usually off-site, in some cool environment, and they spend the day discussing ideas that, and this group reports directly to me. This millennial council reports directly to me. I'll usually go in for the last hour of the session, and they'll do a report out and benchmark maybe some of the strategies, especially on the employee development side, that are working well, some that need improvement, and then from that standpoint, there also take opportunities for us to look at maybe our own business environment, in what we're from a product perspective, from their side, where we might want to take a look at some new opportunities to basically promote our business. And a big part of it too is they're really, really good at providing good insight into our whole ESG requirements as an organization, and where we can be a better organization outside of the business that we do, in protecting the environment, and also engaging the entire community from a well-being perspective. So it's worked really, really well. They have a very, very strong voice. A lot of their ideas are documented, and we then take them and discuss them as an executive team to say, hey, this is real stuff. These guys, this is free. We would pay consultants thousands and thousands of dollars to get these ideas, and these are our own people, and it's worked so well. And I can, I'm very proud that they feel comfortable enough to be able to engage me, and of course I can make it very easy for them too, understanding that I've done most of it, almost all of their jobs previously in my lifetime. So, I get where their head is. And so that's, another example you talk about human ingenuity and creating the space for them is one of the, I do believe, pillars of our management process that we're quite proud of.
That is so fascinating, Paul, and I completely get where this is coming from. But you've got me a lot more curious about this now. So
Yeah.
let's go down the path a bit. So there's a group of people, say once a year, goes on an offsite.
No, once a year, once a month.
Once a month, they go on an offsite. They do some cool
Yes.
stuff. They brainstorm. That's amazing. They get a chance to speak with you because you're at the end for an hour. You go and you'll have that.
Mm-hmm.
That gets brought into what you would call recommendations to the management team or the board or whatever. Where does it go from there? Because I'm just trying to understand. Do any of them get to then champion any of the ideas to take it all the
Yes.
way to fruition?
Yes. Okay. So great question. So we do also right now we've got a big movement within our organization. We're trying to train as many capable people that are interested, and we're working with Sheridan College in Mississauga, and I think we've got about 40 people in this program right now where they're working towards their project management certification. And part of the whole project management process is you actually have to have, in order to get your certification, you have to have projects that you can work on, right?
Mm-hmm.
So again, depending on the project, I can talk to one, and right now is a whole revamping of our performance review process, which they were very, very vocal on. And so I have a project manager that is managing that process, who is not in HR. That's another good one. He's not not in the discipline that they're working in. And we've made significant inroads in improving that whole process from an employee engagement perspective, that everybody right now actually looks forward to their performance review. That's a tough one.
That is a tough one, but
everybody dreads performance reviews, right?
No, this is amazing. So I'm going to continue with this because I think
Yes.
this is fascinating for me. So once a month, idea generation, take it to management team, then you've got yourself a space again for them to actually take that to fruition. In this particular
Yes.
case, project management, Sheridan program got that. Like you said, this one person is not in HR, but is now bringing in a certain recommendation, which would have been generally part of the purview of HR. How do you manage the dynamic between the function and such ideas that are coming in, so that they're not looked at as a foreign element and it's looked at as a help and a support versus a turf and a battle?
What we'll do is whoever is championing this, the initiative, we'll have them come and, of course, meet with our executive team, and basically communicate the passion and the purpose and the plan to try to move this initiative forward. When it comes to leading a group outside of your area of expertise, especially as a project manager, it really doesn't matter where your expertise lies. It's all in the actual management and the creation of the process, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you take a look at any department leader who's maybe space where that we're working in, they look at it, that department leader will look at it as tremendous assistance, because everybody doesn't have enough time during the day to do the job that they're supposed to do. And having someone do it and having someone lead it with the involvement of whoever needs to be in that project team to actually make sure that whatever end goal you're setting gets achieved. Nobody looks at it as a threat. Nobody looks at it as an invasion of, someone is getting into my role. they look at it as really an opportunity of support. And I haven't seen a conflict yet.
That is unbelievable. And you know what? That goes to show the maturity and the coaching you provided to your organization and how it needs to function. I'm not surprised you guys are as successful as you are. So Paul, you said 40 years with NTN, right?
Yes.
And if you were to right now reflect back and retrace, and you got a chance to retrace your steps and walk that journey again, would you do exactly what you've done?
Great question. One of the things that whenever I had this discussion last night. I'm in Chicago with my leadership team here. Having the opportunity to grow in the organization as I did, I had a lot of great mentors. And I was only successful because of the mentorship and leadership that guided me, and as well as my entire team. That a lot of those team members are still with me, and I grew up in the organization. And I always said to myself, because as an employee, you always look upward to your leadership. And I said very early in my career, and another thing too, I never asked for a promotion. That's another one that you should put together. I always said, I will take all the good things that I liked as an employee from my leadership team. And if I ever had the opportunity and they were still relevant, I would scale them. In other words, I would do more of it. And what I didn't like as an employee, I would actually make sure that I understood why I didn't like it. And if I couldn't change it, I would stop doing it and never repeat it. So my point is, when you talk about reflection, even myself, I've made a lot of mistakes, right? Everybody does. But, when you make a mistake and you're prepared to own it, and you're prepared to reflect on it, and you're prepared to communicate it, you get a lot of support and input, not only from yourself, but from other people in the organization to help you make sure that you do better next time, right? And that's really how a team works. So sure, there's a few things that maybe, I learned from quite a few things that, make you a better man. But probably I would like to say most of the opportunities that I had to grow within the organization and help people grow, I would not change it, and I would probably do it a little bit better than I've done. So
a better man you are, Paul. A better man you are. So our time is kind of coming to a close. It's fun. It's funny how when you're having fun, how fast the time flies. Just the last bit that I'd love to get your take on is, let's say you were to give advice to leaders across other merge members or MBOT members or other senior leaders. What would be a couple of pieces of advice that you'd give to leaders of organizations?
Engage your employees. And I don't mean engage them in town halls or, by email. Talk to your employees. Talk to your employees at every level. Spend 5 minutes talking to your employees. Get to know them. And I know sometimes it's difficult, but at the end of the day, the ability for an employee to be able to engage a top leader in an organization, even a simple good morning coming from the leader, and you'd be surprised how many times people will walk through an office and not say hello, right? Engage your employees. Without your employees, you're nothing. You're zero, right? And I don't care, how well established your digital platform is, what you can buy online, but an organization is absolutely nothing without their employees. So my advice is, be a serving leader. talk to your people, listen to them. And when I mean listen to them, really listen to them, use it, use what God gave you: 2 eyes, 2 ears, and 1 mouth. See and hear, and you will be a much better organization.
And with that, I think I would take that as parting amazing advice. Just the fact that you've created space within your organization for ingenuity to flourish, that in itself shows and says a ton about you as a leader and your team around you. Thank you so much, Paul, for taking the time. This has been a great conversation, and thank you for sharing your advice. Our listeners would love to hear more from you. We will tag you and NTN Bearings in our show notes. But before I let you go, is there anything that you would have expected me to have a conversation with you in this podcast episode, and I didn't touch on it, or we didn't get to talk about it? Is there something that was on your mind that you wanted to share?
No, this discussion was about leadership, and I think from that standpoint, we could have probably, a 10-day conversation about it. So understanding, the time restriction, which I do believe, I'm very gracious for the 30 minutes. I think that you position, your inquiries very, very well, and made it very, very easy for me to, how do you say, take my CEO stripes off my shoulder and just, be Paul Mayo as I consider myself another employee within our organization, and just really tell you how I feel. So no, you did a great job. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Paul. It's that human connection that we hanker for. So thanks a lot for taking the time.
My pleasure. Thank you
so
much.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. The Say Hi to the Future podcast series is produced by Sonia Romero, edited by Matt Miller, and special effects by Edward Vasquez. Please leave us your thoughts and let us know if there's a guest you want us to have a conversation with. You can find all Say Hi to the Future podcast series on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube.